Hello, I'm Super Orange Cat here, and with a Toonami news update for today, May 4th, 2021. Let's look first at Toonami's ratings from Saturday, May 1st, 2021. Before Toonami, we had not Fire Force, Final Space at a 0.13, and then after that, at the start of the block, we had Dragon Ball Super at a 0.17, Attack on Titan mid-season finale at a 0.15, Food Wars at a 0.13, The Promised Neverland at a 0.12, Fire Force at a 0.11, Black Clover at a 0.09, Naruto Shippuden at a 0.10, and the season 1 finale of Demon Slayer at a 0.08. Overall, this block was a big step down from last week. Last week, we made some minor improvements, and we basically lost all that right off the bat here this week. First thing I want to point out is just kind of point my finger and laugh at Final Space. It got a 0.13, and actually, by at least according to how Showbuzz Daily ranked it, not only did it do worse than Dragon Ball Super, which is a rerun, or Attack on Titan, it actually did worse, slightly worse than Food Wars as well, just to show how really Adult Swim animation isn't exactly in the best state right now. Well, Adult Swim programming in general isn't doing that well. Bird Girl is doing marginally okay at best, which is bad considering how much they hyped it. And Final Space, unless they've already renewed it for another season, which I'm not aware if they have or not, there's no real justification to give them any more than the end of season 3 here. So hopefully for those fans, they actually end it with an actual conclusion. But again, that remains to be seen. And then again, I'm gonna once again say my refrain about how Dragon Ball Super should not be leading off this block. 0.17, that's not a number you should lead off a block with. And I can tell you right now, next week we get My Hero Academia season 5 premiere on the block, and if if itself led off the block, it would do better than a 0.17. I can tell you that certainly right here now. It probably would do better than a 0.20. It still might do better than that behind Dragon Ball Super. That's one prediction I'm going to make right off the bat here. My Hero Academia will outrate Dragon Ball Super next week, and it's still going to be held back to a degree because of its lead-in, Because, like I said, and it's just like, and that's the thing a lot of people have been saying. I am not the only person who said it. And apparently, there's also allegedly been rumors that Toonami's staff has honestly generally wanted to push Dragon Ball Super down later in the block. However, it's ad brand recognition, which is important for selling advertising space. Because, like I said, and I've said this before, if you look at the average normal non-anime fan and you look at these shows, the only ones they're going to recognize is definitely Dragon Ball Super, and they just might recognize Naruto. But they don't recognize Shippuden. They recognize Naruto, the Believe It! Like way back when it was on Toonami, like 2007, 2008, that era Naruto. And again, and that's important, especially considering, and there's another little thing, I keep forgetting to talk about my downward spiral videos, but I'll get to that when I mention The Promised Neverland in a moment. But again, Dragon Ball Super not doing good numbers. It fell down again this week, and it needs to change. And then you have Attack on Titan becoming its own meme, where I keep saying how it used to always be a 0.15. Last week it went over that, and it ends this half season at a 0.15. So again, that's a number it seems cursed to stay at, for better or for worse. Attack on Titan, this season will rerun next week, starting on Toonami. However, that will be at the 3:30 a.m. slot, which Demon Slayer will be leaving because, like I mentioned earlier, that was the season 1 finale that aired. And we'll probably see Demon Slayer again when season 2 comes out, which I believe is supposed to be this fall. And we'll definitely get that as soon as possible, considering how big a name that is, That's a thing. A Demon Slayer, I believe, actually was the highest movie in American box office this week. Albeit that's a low bar since I believe we had no debuting films this past weekend, but again, an anime movie was a top grossing film in America. That by itself is something to be absolutely cherished, And then also you have, like I said, okay, back to me doing analysis of these ratings here. Food Wars, 0.13. I think it's going to fulfill the Fire Force, kind of what I call Fire Force, how it's always the show you kind of forgets there. Food Wars, despite maybe arguably being the one that sticks out the most of these shows, considering it's basically ecchi, It's gotten to the point where it's kind of easy to forget it's there. Like if I wasn't looking at this list and you tell me, say all the names of the shows that are on Toonami right now, that's probably the one I forget. you know. And then The Promised Neverland. Okay, about The Promised Neverland. One thing I have noticed, and I keep forgetting to mention this in the Downward Spiral videos. Okay, if you take out the OP and the ED of most anime standard length episodes, they're about 21 and a half to 22 minutes long. So that when you add in the ED and the OP, it's about 24 to 25 minutes long. Most of them are like a minute to a minute and a half long, by the way. A lot of people forget that since Toonami cuts outside of the very first episode of a season, they cut the hell out of the opening theme. That's something a lot of people don't realize. But The Promised Neverland, episode length, if you take out the OP and ED, is barely 19 minutes. And I thought that's weird considering, and I've mentioned this a lot, there is a lot of material they have to cover. So the fact that they're doing shorter episode times makes absolutely no sense to me at this point. And again, if you're wondering where we are, if you know about The Promised Neverland Season 2 and you're wondering, well, how far is Toonami along in it? We just had the 4th episode, which is the episode where things start to deteriorate. So right now the kids are in the woods running away, got saved from being attacked by G.I. Joe, but they're running in the woods now. So after that you had, and again about The Promised Neverland, what I was going to say is that about ad space, and if you've been paying attention to Adult Swim, just in general, not even just in Toonami, you'll notice that times they'll air like music videos or like short 3-minute long animations. That isn't to show out how creative they are. That is literally there to fill an ad space they could not sell. And historically, the only times where you would ever find ad space not sold is like Saturday or Sunday mornings on like local TV networks. That's actually the reason why those like kind of have the reputation like Saturday mornings of having PSAs, like the ad council, those public service announcements. That is literally only there because it's free programming that can be put in by the network when they don't sell any ad space. So it's not like, oh, we want to help kids know how to cross the road. They're putting it there because they don't want to show dead air for 30 seconds. And again, Fire Force, I mean, it's down 0.02, which most of the shows this week were. You can't say much about it. And then Black Clover, the biggest loser of the week, down below a 0.1, the lowest of the premieres on the block. And yikes, I'm not that privy to what's actually going on at Black Clover. I thought this past episode was the first one back in canon. Maybe that's next week, but uncharacteristic drop. Black Clover had been gaining a reputation recently of being kind of the late block show that kind of outshines the rest in terms of ratings. So I don't really know what caused that. And then again, with the 3 a.m. power hour, you have Naruto shipping in, only down 1/100th. It built on Black Clover, so that's good for it there. And then Demon Slayer, it's a 0.08, but no one cares because it's off the block anyways. So again, if you want to know next week, the schedule for next week is the changes will be at 12:30. We'll be having My Hero Academia. And the only other change is that at 3:30 a.m., we will have the first episode of Season 4 of Attack on Titan air again. Everything else will be the same. And then the week after that, it will be Fire Force off the block. And then we'll have some things move around. And Doctor Stone Season 2, Stone Wars, will be airing at 1 in the morning. And yeah, so changes coming soon to the Toonami lineup. However, the one change they should make, they're not going to do, which would be moving Dragon Ball Super off of the lead. But again, what are you going to do? Toonami's going to Toonami. So another piece of news that came out this actually a couple days ago, is the fact that we have actually some news on Fena Pirate Princess. Not an air date or anything, but we got an announcement that Fena Pirate Princess has been picked up by the Annecy Animation Film Festival, which is a film festival in France, for a category called the Work in Progress program. And before I heard the Work in Progress part, I thought, wait, it's debuting in June somewhere, which means a Toonami airing is soon at hand. I thought Toonami is going to air it probably in June, maybe July. But then I saw Work in Progress here, as you can see in this tweet, and that just took a lot of the wind out of the sails for me. This is at least news that some amount of this is finished. I'm not that familiar with the Annecy Film Festival or this program. So again, what does this mean? Does this mean that they're going to show like a 3-minute blurb about the show? Does this mean they're going to show like a 10-minute like short mini segment, a whole episode, or they're going to show the first few episodes? So this can still mean many things in terms of where we are in the production schedule. So we could be very close to being finished, or we could just be like one episode in and still have quite a ways to go until we get Fena Pirate Princess. But again, this is interesting that Fena Pirate Princess did come up in the news. I believe a Variety article also mentioned it too, along with saying that, oh, Blade Runner is coming soon. And I believe they also mentioned Adult Swim getting Tuca and Birdie, which I keep forgetting Adult Swim picked up. Okay, I'm going to go off tangent here because this is just hysterical. Okay, so naturally, if you pick up a show season 2 onwards, you would think, okay, so leading up to airing season 2 premiere, you would think, oh, just air episodes from season 1 to kind of get things building, get fan interest built up in the show, and people will watch it. Well, there's one problem. The rights that Adult Swim has to getting Tuca and Birdie only applies to season 2 onwards. Netflix still has the rights to season 1. So if you really, really want to see season 1, the hyper stuff up for season 2, you have to go to Netflix and watch the episodes there. Toonami, definitely. Adult Swim is not going to have. So I thought that's hilarious because that's a huge flaw in the plan. It's like, how many people who are not that familiar with Tuca and Birdie, who are like Adult Swim fans, will just right there, shot in the dark, just watch the season 2 premiere? Not that many people. I don't think so. So I think that show, which will be debuting, I believe, June 13th, I might have the exact date wrong on that one, will probably bomb, in my opinion. Probably worse than Bird Girl. I mean, you can't really say Bird Girl bombed as much as it's just probably underperforming expectations. But again, Adult Swim, Warner Media in general is not really having a fun time as of late. What do you guys think about these news? What's your thought about Toonami's ratings? What's your thought about this little bit of news we've learned about Fena Pirate Princess at the Annecy Film Festival in June in somewhere in France? Like most of these film festivals are just somewhere in France. But what is your opinions? Leave your comments, leave your pins down below. I love reading them. If you like this content, if you want more wacky Toonami news content like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. I am Super Orange Cat, and that is all.